Hi everybody, welcome to today's lesson. We're going to talk about two English words which tend to cause a lot of confusion because not only are they spelled almost exactly the same way, but they even sound almost the same. And depending on your accent, you might not even detect a difference when someone is speaking. The two words that we're talking about are these ones, then and than. How do we know when to use each one? Well, especially when we're writing, it's important to get it right so that our grammar will be correct. So let's talk about each one, we'll explore it together and come to some conclusions. The first word we're going to talk about is this one, then. When is it used? Well, most often it is used when you're talking about something involving time. So that's something good to keep in mind when we're writing, is time involved with this. For example, maybe we're talking about two events. One happens after the other, or one is a subsequent event to the other. Very often we'll use the word then, T-H-E-N. For example, suppose you're writing an email in which you're giving directions how to get to your home. You might say something like, continue along the highway until you see the gas station, then turn left. So can you pick out the two distinct events happening in that sentence? First, you're continuing along the highway. That's event number one. Event number two is you're turning left. So continue down the highway until you come to the gas station and then turn left. Another simple example just like that would be if I said, I walked into the restaurant, then I saw the policeman. So here again we have two events. Maybe we could make a timeline and we could plot both of those things on our timeline. First I walked into the restaurant, then I saw the policeman. So time is involved and we use the word T-H-E-N, then. Another way that we use it that employs time is when we're speaking about something that happened before, something that happened at a specific time or a long time ago. For example, perhaps I would show you this my wedding picture, and I might say to you, yes, I had more hair then. It's sad but true. But I could substitute the words at that time, and the sentence would make just as much sense. I could say, I had more hair at that time. But most often in English we would just say, I had more hair then. Another example similar to that would be perhaps in the office. Maybe you are worried because your vacation is coming up and you say, boss, I'm going to be away in the first week of January. And perhaps he responds and says, don't worry, the project will be completed by then. So here again, we're talking about something that will be at a certain time. He could say, don't worry, the project will be finished at that time. Or we just use then, T-H-E-N. Let's take another scenario where we would use the word then. It's a little bit different. This time it involves things that happen with a consequence. So perhaps I could say, if you had worn your seatbelt, then you wouldn't have injured yourself. So do you see how there's a happening followed by a consequence, and I use the word then. The happening is, I didn't wear my seatbelt. The consequence is, I got injured. So if you had worn your seatbelt, then you would not have been injured. These types of sentences often use the word if in them. Another example, perhaps someone says, you lost your textbook? You're going to have to buy another one then. Same sort of situation, isn't it? Something happened, you lost the textbook, and as a consequence, you're going to have to get another one. You lost your textbook, you're going to have to buy another one then. So those are some of the most common uses of the word then, but let's move on to our other word, than. When would it be used instead? Well, it's really not that complicated to figure out. The word then is used when we're comparing things. Let's say, for example, we have two people. We've got Julia and we've got Edward. And so it just so happens that Julia is taller than Edward. So we're comparing the two of them. Taller is the comparison, but we use the word than in the sentence. Julia is taller than Edward. Another example very similar would be if we were comparing the size of things. I could say that Canada is larger than the United States of America. Larger being the comparison. Or even another example, maybe I will use two comparisons in the same sentence. I might be very upset and I send you an email and I say, my office is smaller than your office, but I do more work than you do. So you see the problem. I'm stuck in this little office. So my office is being compared with your office. My office is smaller than your office. And in the next comparison, but I'm doing more work than you're doing. Now I'm comparing our jobs. So in the one sentence, we use than twice. So those are the basic ways of understanding how to use these two words. Maybe you're thinking to yourself, I'm never going to be able to keep all that straight. But it's really not that complicated. Just remember, whatever you're writing or speaking about, are you comparing two things? In that case, you're going to want to use the word than. In every other situation, go ahead and use the word then. And you'll find that your grammar is good and correct. That's all for today. So take care. Bye-bye.